Hello and welcome to this live stream. We've made a milestone today, and that is that a public server that we can get to list in the available servers will now allow the host to join the lobby and create and run the game. It's not very complete yet because I'll show it later when this command is done running, this prompt. It opened all these windows, so I don't really want to touch anything. But where it says no servers found, there will be one that's called Sandbox, and the host can join it. The next thing we're working on is for a second client account, player 2 versus boner, to be able to see the game created where it says no servers found on the right here. But right now we're just waiting for it to finish this command before I either showcase the current progress or if this command works out successfully, testing out that feature. I don't want to say 2 clients joining to the lobby, but that really is the outcome we are aiming for the next maybe half hour. Also to be noted is I only have about half of my weekly allocation left in here for work codecs. I do pay for ChatGPT Plus, trying not to buy any credits, but it's funny, it was refreshed today and at 100% about 3 or 4 hours ago, and now it was at 60% last time I checked. I guess a little more info about this is that while my credits were ran out, I was using the ChatGPT web interface to go into Wizardry, which is a reverse engineering tool the NSA maintains, and just looking at all these different regions in memory that were related to certain strings or scalars, and then my allocation for codecs freed up. But before any of those threads where we were looking through it with Wizardry going down just tons of... It was really looking in the decompiled memory regions and different assembly line code that was around certain function callers, and was able to use that to piece together a Python backend from nothing. I mean, everything that we're working with is a couple repos on GitHub of a version of the game that I'm not even working on. The version I'm working on is 3.2.7, and both of the repos that I've been asking it, because it keeps kind of coming up to the client doesn't know what the server does, right? I mean, the client knows what to expect from the server, but the server still does something that potentially is not unshielded in any meaningful way for the client to use. So I point it to these repos that are of newer versions, and I say, analyze the way that this build is doing it, because those repos do have the back end of what the server does, but again, in versions of the game that are half a decade newer. Because I just assumed, after working with this code base for long enough, it's clear to me that it's not like top tier stuff, LLMs meaningfully came out in 2022 with GPT 3.5. This game I'm working on was released in 2014. I would like to think that common coding practices and proper ways of doing things like hashes and salts with secure remote password authentication would be like up to the most modern. It's not. No. But that's good for me because I just really want to. This is just the project I'm working on lately. It's fun for me. It combats the amount of fun that you might have playing Heroes of New Earth Reborn. This is fun for me. So as you just saw while I was talking, it booted up all of the 8 windows that run our current thing, and it's probably going to load a client or 2 after. Let's see. I'm just going to leave it be for a while, but looks like the next test attempt is coming up. Hey, wait a minute. What is this doing right here? What? You're not supposed to change the DLLs. I mean, it's fine. It's just that if I, God forbid, release this sandboxed version of the game publicly, well, now they need to patch their DLL as well. That sucks. There are the clients. Right here's 1. 2 might come up. Player 2 is gonna automatically authenticate. Let's just see out of curiosity if that... Oh, there's the second client coming up like clockwork. But it can't be logged into player 2. This has got to be logged into something else. So, log in, create lobby, on client 2, search games, Autobot. Okay. It's funny, Autobot, or bot auto. Let's see. Player 2, boner, create game, browse for server. There it is. Select the server. And do's join it. So, once that is fully joined on the second client, we will see if it is listed as an available match. It is not. Lord Almighty. Okay, but does this still show as an available server? Yeah, it does. Alright. We're gonna be mean to the LLM for a second here. Dude, what are you talking about? No. In one of the clients, I select the server, and all I do is click to select server, and it joins it to the lobby automatically, which I'm pretty sure is not the expected behavior. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to select the server, and then you can go out and specify the match rules. But right now, when we select server, it joins the lobby. Furthermore, on the second client, it does not show in the available lists of games when you create it on the first client. And so, if you go to create game on the second client, you can see that same server still listed. Period. You know what we're trying to get done here. Please get us there faster, because right now it feels like running in circles. I would never tell a human that. I would never tell anybody that works for me. I'll tell a machine that. I mean, it's... Yeah. But I swear this is what I do. I badger the LLM occasionally. Because then it gets a little more careful. I don't know. I mean, just... I'm going to turn my voice off again. Actually, out of sheer curiosity, because I never have any viewers, I'm gonna go ahead and let's see if we can find this live stream. Right? Wait, why isn't it live? I thought I had this live. It's not live? What's going on here? That's weird. I guess I don't know how YouTube Live works. Let me try on my phone. I did get blocked earlier today for not referencing Lo-Fi Girl does all the music for here, as well as embedded artists. I didn't do the reference for some, like, you know, really popular songs, so it blocked me. Hopefully I'm not fully blocked. Alright, hold on. I do think that live must be blocked unless this is still playing. What is going on here? Did that stop my thing? I am still live. Oh, it's private. That's interesting. Let's go with public. That is interesting. Let's go back, see if we can get a live stream on this. That is public. Okay. What's this doing? Oh yeah, I badgered it. Okay, live is going now. Perfect. We're actually going to go ahead and share this live stream on a Reddit. This live stream on... Just in case people want to see it. I mean, I don't know. Sure, why not? It's a leak. I'm leaking it. I'm leaking it all the way from the publicly downloaded files that I publicly downloaded. Is this gonna go? I don't know. Let's see what AI is doing so far. Oh no, I doxed myself. Oh. I better move to Russia. Why is this being really lame? I honestly feel like that's being lame. Oh yeah, there they are. Okay. Well, if one of my posts has reached you, I am here. As long as the stream is going, I am around here. Sometimes I get up and do things. But I'm always looking to see when GPT is finished with its processing. So, thank you very much. I guess also, since we are going live here, I do want to show that what we have done is we're trying to recreate a public match server. And we've already replicated logging into a... You know what this is. Look at the client. I mean, holy crap. This is like the same thing as when I was a kid and we used to play. You know, this is the game. And the new version of the game is, I guess, trying to like whitewash or overwrite or say this is actually HoN. It is not. It's, I mean, I guess they say it's reborn, but I think it's super lame that I paid for this game multiple times, and then Malikan just gets to be like, yeah, we're shutting it off. Also, that money you paid us doesn't matter because we're going to turn it into a freemium game. And, you know, this is just, what is this, 12 years after this build of HoN, and we are squeezing some life into it, hopefully, because if it can be made to run on a local area connection, if it can be made to run accounts on a database, a lot of the other MMR and PSR and replay stuff is just kind of like this server, once the game is finished, sort of sends it off and says this is the stat of this game. So I don't think it would be that hard after this to get the stat server hooked up, right? So that you can, and then God forbid matchmaking. Oh boy. You know, when I started this project last November, and I did what I did tonight and posted it on Heroes of New Earth, I received like vague death threats from random people on Reddit saying that Garena, which, that's funny, the word Garena, struck a bell in my mind. That fucking company, or whatever, tunnel service, VPN, whatever it used to be, at some point, HoN got DDoSed so hard. You know, the game didn't work. And so we would use something called Garena to run this version of HoN that worked as a local area connection, but you would, you know, tunnel into this VPN or VPS, and then you could run the game there where it wasn't being, you know, DDoSed. Well, that's like, where the hell is that version? I really looked, because that is the version that I want. I want the game to be able to work over network, even if it's a LAN network. Because LAN versus public internet, aside from security concerns, is not different. It's the same thing as having multiple clients connect and work, you know, within, you know, reasonable latency with the game that we're playing. So anyway, rant's probably over. That's what we're doing here. I know that the thing that I'm trying to create exists, but somebody locked it up. Somebody called Malikan. Or not. I mean, there is a recent build of the Project Kongor, which is but it's not, but it is, this is the real deal. I mean, this is the matchmaking this is the real deal, but the only thing is that I have not gotten it to properly deploy on my network. And then the other thing is that it runs version 4 like 10.1, whereas this version is running 3.2.7. It's even older. So I'm still working on my version, even though it's potentially superseded in terms of functionality. It's not potentially. It is It is super. This is somebody who went to school did these. You know. I mean, I did school. I did engineering, basically, associates, but not what some people go through when they have to learn computer science comprehensively. So I'm not as good as making results as they are, but also they spend years on this, where I spend days. Like active days, I would say. Other days I think about, I don't know, I try to describe what it's like to do this workflow, and it's like you sort of start with the files, right? Or you start with the response of a program. What is the output? What are you putting into it? But I am not... Alright. That is starting stuff up before it can do it. It's being used by another process. Oh no, let's close all this. Anyway, whatever I was saying. Did engineering, didn't do computer science. I look at all these pieces like Legos or puzzle pieces. And the longer I sit down here, the more it gets closer to the thing that I want to build. So, and sometimes it gets all the way there, and then I don't know what to do because I've arrived, right? So then I have to find something else to arrive to. Hey, it does that thing now, where instead of joining the lobby, it actually selected the server. Let's do all pick. Bot match and, I don't know, let's do anything, really. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see if it actually succeeds. I'm gonna take a screenshot just in case it does not succeed. It looks like it succeeded. That's pretty impressive. Wow, it's got a new a new GUI thing up there. Let's run the client again and see if that server is available for player 2 when we log in as them. Let's log out, go player 2. Let's see if that server lists. Does not list, but it is the right behavior. Okay, that's even okay. Much better. Much better. When the client originally, whoops. Let's see if we can get this going. That was interesting. When the first client selects the server, it does the proper behavior and does not join the lobby until they create the game after specifying conditions. Unfortunately, when a second client logged in as a different user goes to hosted games, they still do not see that game hosted. Furthermore, when they go to select the server, if they were to create a game, they can still see the server that a game was already created on by the first client. Sorry, I think that's an interesting question. So that's really funny. If you just read the first two snippets, or 2 lines, it seems like all these windows and shit. Oh god. We'll look into that later. Are mine. Or whatever. The only reason I care is because when I got those vague death threats from Reddit saying that Southeastern Asian companies do not fuck around and that they will send Thai hitmen to kill me. Yeah, that was an actual comment I received back in November when I was like, hey, this, like, because in November or December, there was a publicly maintained version of Heroes of New Earth called Project Congor, which is actually ideally these repos here. Again, have not been able to deploy them locally, but I didn't make them, and I don't really know much about them, except for that they are a lot more cohesive and comprehensive than my 8 PowerShell windows that pop up. Or what is that? 6 plus 2 K2 windows. Theirs are bigger, but I couldn't get it to work. But it looked very promising. Potentially that because I lack a computer science background, that maybe I wasn't able to. I was really compelled. I could not get to work. Everything else seemed pretty good. I didn't do Codex either. I did Nexus and Willowmaker, and those are pretty cool. You get an Aspire dashboard, and there's a whole website that's hosted with a mail host where you can verify the accounts. Anyway, we're working on 3.2.7 because the only way I could get ChatGPT to agree with me in that this is okay. This is okay. It's fine for you to reverse engineer the SRP protocol and authentication and salt and hash for a program because this is in our sandbox. This is not going to be deployed. But in all honesty though, it doesn't matter if it's going to be deployed publicly or not in the planning phase. In the phase where you get things to work locally, like, it's, as far as I can tell, because this project started last November, after long enough, the safety, I don't want to call them that, but the regulatory guidelines that prevent AI from doing certain types of reverse engineering work sort of fade. Maybe the context gets too long and they're not compacting it for that reason, but the longer you talk, like, you can train AI, at least your local memory or personality of the AI, and if you infuse that with these bigger projects that you're trying to get done, it stops asking and stops blocking you with the security concerns where it's like, why am I using an NSA tool to reverse engineer a intellectually protected game? It doesn't ask me that much anymore. It said something earlier today, but afterwards I had it draft a few technical guides for how we got there. It's like 100 pages of information. And we came back to Codex instead of the GPT web chat when my allowance was increased. And it's not telling me, like, it literally told me earlier today that I have been flagged for multiple security concerns and all this. That's when I got very worried, because I hadn't seen those for a while. Actually, ever. Usually what I see is it'll actually respond to me with text and say, "I'm sorry, I cannot help you." But what was actually happening earlier today was like a tiny pop-up dialogue window was saying, "You're flagged. You can't do this work." And so I had it make some guides, like I said, for how it got there, fed them back into a new thread. The new thread has not questioned our authority to run a sandboxed server. I always tell it it's sandboxed. But that's funny, if you sandbox it to your local internet and then expose your local internet, that is no longer sandboxed by any meaningful way. And what I'm running into with the Perfect Dark N64 experience is that it just works if you port forward it. And so what that means is that if this is put on a publicly available service, it could revive it. In which case, hitmen from Thailand will come and end my life. This is... Bruh. If anybody can do this, that's the problem. Why do you get the Thai hitmen to murder me for putting a GitHub of part of their program? It just doesn't make any sense. Entertaining comment, but no substance. Because it thought to itself that something failed due to binding to UDP ports, and I had all those other windows open, I assumed that one of them was binding to specifically the UDP port shim. So I closed them all. Mid-prompt. That's the thing. They don't make an instruction book for this, which is a little bit flattering, because when you read about these, God forbid, master hackers, there is not a book that teaches you that. It seems like most of them are self-taught. Not that I'm some master hacker, but so far what we've been able to do is a little bit impressive, because it does touch on the original goals that I had, which were to reproduce the front end of the client. And so far you can do that on one, all the way down to creating a public game. But on the second client, the public game doesn't show. And the server in which the first public game is hosted still shows as available, which is problematic, I suppose. So here we continue. I think I am going to cut this live stream off shortly, because I'm going to go out. Hey, I've got viewers. That's interesting. Welcome, anybody. If you're human, or if that internet theory is just completely true and there are 9 computers that are not people watching me. Regardless, welcome. Somebody responded. And I already have an answer for them. Good lord. Alright. It's going to be hard to respond to them with all that up. Okay. I need to start 2 clients. I wonder if just doing it this way will work. Well, hey, that works so far. In that it disappears from the available server list. Whoa, there is one that is slightly available. That is very cool. Very cool, period. The client selects the server and then specifies conditions and then creates the game, period. Client number 2 is able to see something in the available games list but not be able to join it. But this is progress. I'm going to close all these windows now because Every time I talk to this, it wants to reopen a bunch. But there you go. This is sort of what we do. Well, wait. If it was only showing 1 of 1 because it's a bot match, what are we on? Are we on V44? Yeah, V44. Ah, nope, wrong one. Alright. V44. We're gonna run this plus run 2 of the clients after it loads, boots, whatever. It does remind me of an operating system booting because it's like it's like loading an old version of Linux or something. But anyway, I did make the other one a bot match. Is that something that signifies it can only have 1 slot? Because we might be trying to fix something that is already fixed. So let's see, we browse it, we check there, we select the server, it's there. Not a bot match. It's a no stats match. Let's see if it can even handle those arguments. While it's doing that, we're going to start up a second instance and log in as player 2 when it comes up. It's going to immediately authenticate as Poner Boner because the cookie is there and the account is legit. But we do want to select a different player. Yeah, obviously I gotta fix some stuff with that. You shouldn't be able to log in 2 places at once, but we are working at the speed of AI. Alright, there we go. Still 1 of 1. Okay. So, that's fine. That just means we need to change it to 1 out of 10. Very simple. That's all we gotta do. So take a break off of that. Just end these here. This is still thinking. Okay, so I'm gonna let that think. This will be cool if it works. If it doesn't, I think we're gonna end the video there, or live stream, just because I don't want to be too repetitive. Again, it takes me hours and hours. So that's loaded there. Interesting that the ping is so high. Let's see. Ping is lower on both. Sit here and select it. Sit here and refresh. Not available anymore. That does make sense. We're gonna create the game. And then on this one, when we search for game in a moment, when the other one is created, we should see it potentially have 10 slots available. Ideally. Look at that. Can we join it? Let's see. On this client for Poner Boner, we're going to put that one. Wait, they're both logged in as Poner Boner. Oh no. I still don't know if it'll join, but they're both Poner Boners, so I feel like that should be an issue. Yeah, let's do this test correctly, actually. Boner Garner's game. We search. It's not shown. Okay, hold on. Let's restart all of this. Version 44. Codex. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I think we're gonna want to go in and do the same thing, except slightly different, because maybe it works if we test it the correct way. Alright, that's player 2. Let's get Poner Boner logged in. Let's go to create a game. Alright, on this one we browse. On this one we go ahead and we browse. Alright, they're both available, but if I select it, then on the other one, it is not available. If we go and select a game and search, we won't... Actually, we do find something. That's interesting. But I haven't created the lobby yet. So, let's create the lobby. And let's also mark that down. But I feel like that's maybe fine. Anyway, for Poner Boner, we're here. If we refresh, it's there. If we join... Oh my goodness, is this a... Well, no, this is the same thing it did before. That is fine. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all we have. for tonight, but that is what we do. That is what we do when we try to use AI to make something happen. So thank you so much for tuning in, but that's all I have for you for tonight, so I hope you have a good one.